Welcome back to Exploring Jinn with Shamma Spiritual Mafia. I'm Cyr. This is episode 10, Privacy is Power. What we won't say on air. House rules, every episode. This series is education, not instruction. No summoning, no binding, no how to control, no coercion, no trapping. Shamma's non-negotiables, no possession, no lies, and no harm. And because people keep trying to make this complicated, here's the entire stance on coercion. Trapping is abuse, full stop. We won't platform it. We won't explain it. We won't entertain it. Today's episode is about something mature audiences respect. Restraint. Privacy isn't weakness. Privacy is authority. Shamma, you ready?
Good to go as usual.
Every time you speak publicly about Jinn, the wrong crowd shows up with the same energy. Teach me how. Give me the ritual. Tell me where to go. Tell me the names. Prove it. Give me the dangerous parts. And the answer is no. This isn't gatekeeping for ego. It's gatekeeping for safety, ethics, and sanity.
Yeah.
Shamma, say it in your words. Why do you refuse to share certain details?
Because there is, first of all, there is a lot of people out there, they are not ready, when they're not ready for it. They're not ready for what's about to come out, and they misuse it a lot. They will, how would I say that in the nicest possible way? It's not about gatekeeping so much. It just people doesn't use it in a respectful way, in a very you kind of need to be quite an advanced practitioner to work with the jinn as well. It's not something that you like kind of start A, B, C, D, and then just jump to Z, and that's it, kaboom. Even if you're gifted, no matter how gifted you are, you've got to still learn your baby step, A, B, C, D, up to Z. Don't jump. And a lot nowadays does that because they feel like, oh, here we go, and it's for their own safety. Because nobody up to although I do what I do, there are moments, if there's a new one coming in, because not every jinn are very pretty to look at, and when there is a new one coming, I still get that oh, okay. But I know, although I know I am protected, although I know they're not here to cause harm, but there is still, like, you got to be grounded, you got to be like, know what you're doing, kind of thing, and especially if it's a new one. So I am not willing to go and share all that. Absolutely not, because a lot will misuse it in a very bad way. And it's not something to joke about. It's not something like, oh, let's go fuck around and find out, because you're going to find out in ways that, again, your whole bloodline is done for.
And here's the principle the audience needs to hear. Curiosity doesn't entitle anyone to access. Let's define what responsible means on this channel. I'm going to give a definition, and you'll tell me if it matches your values. Responsible means we talk about culture and context. Yes?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Ethics and consent.
Absolutely.
Discernment and stability.
Most definitely.
Consequences of ego and fear.
Oh, damn right.
Lived experience as testimony.
Yes.
Okay. And we do not talk about instructions.
Nuh-uh.
Okay. Techniques.
Nope.
Location-based advice.
Absolutely not.
Binding coercion frameworks.
Oh, no.
Anything that
Nothing but no.
turns into a field guide.
Nah.
Shamma, does that match you?
Yes.
Good. That becomes the spine of the channel. Now we say it clearly so nobody can pretend they didn't hear it. Shamma, I'm going to list categories. You tell me, yes, that's a red line, or no, we can discuss it at a high level.
Okay.
How to summon or call.
You're looking for trouble? No. Red line.
All right. How to bind, trap, or command.
No. Red line.
Specific names used for power.
Um, I don't know if the word power come into it, but we could most definitely have an episode. I will need to check with all of them, who is okay with me sharing their name and what they do. Yeah, I'll have to check with them first.
Okay. Exact locations, cemeteries, ruins, crossroads, etc.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we all know a lot of practitioners work at the cemetery. A lot of us work at the crossroad. That is. We can kind of dive into it a bit. That's not a problem.
Okay. What to bring, what to say, what to do.
What to bring as an offering? I will talk about that because especially for the new one,
Is that
that's
getting into instruction though, or is it a sign of respect or something else?
no, it's very respectful. You have to. That's respectful. That's a big rule. I mean, you don't just go and take. You got to work balance it up.
Okay. Threats, revenge, and harm work.
Negotiable, because I do a lot of banful work, but that need to be justified. We
Okay.
can dive a little bit into it, but
Okay.
not so much.
Anything involving coercion or forcing outcomes.
Absolutely not. That's a red line. Nuh-uh. No, sir.
Good. And for listeners, if you comment asking for any of that, you most likely will be ignored, possibly removed, definitely not answered. Now tell me why these red lines matter without drama and just consequence. Why are these your
Listen,
boundaries?
listen. I cannot say these things. Yeah, you can say I'm gatekeeping, okay? Because if I tell you things, and you be just go out there and start doing it, and the consequences could lead into on the death. I'm gonna say it loud and clear, death, because that's where it's gonna end up. And I don't want to be responsible for that. And you also need to respect those spirits as well. There is a reason, you know. So
Cool. So exactly, restraint isn't censorship, it's discipline. Now we upgrade the audience because a high quality show requires high quality questions. Shamma, what's an example of a bad question you get all the time?
oh, prove me you can do that, bitch. I don't need to prove jack shit to no MF out there. Let's make that loud and clear, okay? And don't come to me like telling me, oh, you're gonna go to hell, don't quote yourself a Muslim. Guess what? I was born Muslim, okay? I call myself spiritual because I don't disrespect no one, and I do what I do, and I do it like to the best of my ability. So don't if you're gonna come at me like that, that's on you. That's on you because, like I say, there is a reason I'm doing it. This show, this YouTube channel about the gene and the gene only, because I had to have their approval first. But that will be one episode we will talk about how I've got their approval. But yeah, no, don't come and cause trouble for your own sake. Just say.
So also some other examples might be, can you send me one? Which is kind of going with that prove it. How do I trap one? Or how do I make it do what I want it to do or do what I want? These are extraction questions. They're about control. Now give examples of good questions, questions you respect, questions that show maturity. I'll start. How do you stay grounded? How do you tell fear from respect? What ethical lines don't move? And what misconceptions cause harm? Shamma, would you add 5 more good questions? Or a few more good questions?
Mm, Ask me about my experiences, like how, for example, how I interact with them, like without, I'm not going to tell you like how I start the ritual and things like that, but ask me like how you can, if there is a good or bad one around you, because G not everywhere. You can ask me like, there is something you said about, can you send me one? No, I don't just do that, but in my practice there has been a few client that I needed to send a gene there for their own protection straight away, because I know for the level of work that I would do, that will take a bit of time, because it doesn't happen just like that. So I do have client come back to me saying, hey, this is what happened, that what happened, I'm safe and blah blah blah, which is really good. And the gene that I have sent out there to protect my client are warriors, and they have absolutely had no issue, no problem. And then when the job is done or they okay, then I call them back, or they come back straight to me actually. So yeah, that there is that in my practice, but it's only really depend on your situation. Yeah, and they work wonders. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, and they're like my babies. I always tell them like, I'm sending you one of my babies, so please, like.
So now we'll give the audience a filter. Before you ask anything, run this test. If your question is trying to extract power, we won't answer. If your question is trying to build discernment or understanding, we will.
Yes.
So let's make it brutally clear. Here are signs you're the wrong audience for this show. You want shortcuts. You want danger because it feels intense. You want to control. You want to prove yourself. You want to use spirituality to justify harm. You can't tolerate the word no. Shamma, give your version of that. What tells you someone is unsafe? What are some of those clients that maybe you would not work with?
Listen, I have turned down a lot of clients because look, I do bandful work. That's no joke. That's not how do you say that? What's the word here? I always say I do bandful work, okay? And it need to be justified. You cannot come to me and expect me to go and hurt so and so without like by lying to me. Sometimes they lie to me and they think that I don't know, but I do know, because I get showed a lot of things, and my instinct also tell me straight away, and I can just tell. And the gene also would say no, right? And then there is a client that they're ending because of they are so trapped into, oh, I want this, I want that, and the ending of what I saw at that time would be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do anything like that to put you in a situation just because I'm going to get paid money here and put you in a situation where it's the ending is not going to be good. No, I can't do that. That's something that I cannot take responsibility for, and I will not. It's just something, no, you know. And it doesn't matter how much money you throw at me, it's a big no no. And also the discernment, like sometimes people come to you just for the sake of like they are very greedy, not greedy necessarily in just money wise, but like kind of that controlling thingy. They want to have control over everything or everyone around them. And look, up to a certain point, we human, it's in us. Yeah, this is where you need to keep checking yourself, when especially when you're doing this kind of work. So depend really on the situation. Like justice work, I would not say controlling. I would say like when justice fail you out there, I will get you your justice. That's not a problem. Yeah, I do karma delivery, like I would, but it got to be justified. It got to be accepted by spiritual court here. If they will do it, if they won't do it, I'm backing off. Like no.
Exactly. So now the opposite. Signs someone is in the right audience. or is the right audience. They respect boundaries. They're willing to slow down. They care about ethics. They want clarity more than thrills. They
Yes.
keep their real life functional. That's who we're speaking to. Now, the operating system. Here's how we handle comments and questions going forward. We will ignore summon, bind, trap questions. We remove coercion content and threats. We don't debate doctrine. We do engage in discernment questions, culture questions, ethics questions. And for Q&A episodes, we pre-screen. If it violates the red lines, it doesn't air. Shamma, anything you want to add to that policy?
It's okay to be curious. It's okay if you want to ask something genuinely because you want the answer to it. If I can answer you, I would. But like you've mentioned, what's not okay, and trying to start bringing the books or like go back so much century, blah blah blah, blah. Like yeah, no, I don't have time for this shit, man. Come on. I'd rather go in bed and watch my K-drama than putting up with that. Yeah, it's like delete, block, boop. That's it.
Good.
That's how I would deal with it, because I don't have time for negativity. Nah.
And one more sentence that matters. Privacy is what keeps this clean. Without privacy, this turns into a circus. That is episode 10, Privacy is Power, What We Won't Say on Air. If you only learn one thing here, boundaries are not optional. They're the price of stability. Next episode is Culture, the Quran, and the Fear Industry. A serious episode. We're going to handle it clean, lived experience, ethics, and context without turning it into a theology war. House rules, always. No coercion, no trapping, no possession, no lies, no harm. Education is not instruction. We're education, not instruction. And this is Exploring Jinn with Shamma Spiritual Mafia. I'm Cyr, and see you next week.
And don't do anything that I would do.